Alrighty, good morning, everyone. Good morning. Hope you guys are doing well. Today is June the 24th. So far, you can see the market's having a fairly nice rally. Sorry. Yeah, so far you can see the market's having a fairly nice rally here in the overnight and pre-market. We are about up almost a point here for the SPY and the Qs. We're fairly close to all-time highs. Markets are getting bought up. We have some news in the markets, and now you can see we're rallying. Tesla, really nice breakout yesterday. We talked about Tesla having a potential nice move, one of our top watches. That one ended up breaking out nicely. We'll talk about that here in a second as well. Before we go over the charts along with some news that we have coming to today. What's up, everyone? Good morning. Good morning, Jeff. What's up, B Roots? Good morning. What's up, KO? Damien, Josh, JT, Ryan. Good morning, Henry, Yoji, Nathaniel. I always pronounce it wrong. Tali. I think that's what it is. Good morning, Robert, Monty, Darth, Robert, Wayne, Daniel, Jen, Ashley, Jose, Juan, Infinite, Chris, Shade, Ray, Joseph, I am, Dominic, Manix, Ebens, Samuel, Paul, G, what's up, Deuce, Darth, Cuba, Cuta. Yeah, what's up, everyone? Good morning. Let's go over some of the charts that we're looking for coming into today. We also do have Jerome Powell speaking. That's going to be at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We do have consumer sentiment as well. So first things first, let's go over the SPY chart. So SPY, we end up having a really solid push yesterday, primarily based off of news, and then you had some technicals that kind of lined up here as well. So for the ES, at least coming into today so far, what I have marked out is the range that we've had for a while now. So as you can see, this is our 5980, which is the bottom of the range, and then we have our top of the range, which is our 6110. So coming into today, you can see a really big break that we've had in the overnight session along with yesterday as well, where we ended up gravitating nicely towards the upside. Now, if we want to see continuation potentially towards all-time highs, right, we'd like to see it maintain above the top of the range. So for the NQ and the ES coming into today, what I'd like to see now is it maintain above your 6110 here for the ES. So if we go back onto the 15-minute time frame, you can see our previous day highs is all the way back down in towards our 6060. We end up having a nice move here in the after hours. What I like to see is it really maintain the top of the range, 6110 for continuation back towards the highs and potentially your all-time highs here as well. So for the SPY, the key level that we have coming to today is going to be really this 604. So I have your 604 marked out on the SPY. What I would like to see is really the hold of your 604 for continuation towards your pre-market highs and above. As you can see, our previous day highs is quite far away, being our 600 key psych. So there is a possibility that if we do reject off your 604, that we could gravitate back down in towards our previous day's close. So that's what we have for SPY coming to today. Let's just take a look at this daily chart here. So this daily chart, we've talked about this yesterday. What I wanted to see was eventually this push up and towards your all-time highs, really within the next kind of 20 to 40 days. But as you can see with this daily candle close, so far markets are defending our previous level of resistance, now turning into support. And the key levels is just going to be our all-time high. So the markets now most likely are going to gravitate back up and towards your all-time highs, being your 610 here on the higher time frame. So if I go back onto the daily chart, and if I go back onto the 1 hour chart here, levels that we can happen. Let me actually just redraw my level. So I have your 604. Let me actually mark out this level along with this level here as well. So I have two levels actually. I'm going to mark out this high, which is your Wednesday, June the 11th high, along with our 604.60 here. So for the SPY, these are actually the only levels I have. I refined the levels a little bit more. Your high that we created on the 14th, and then we actually have your 14th high here as well, which is going to be your 603. So for SPY, right, those are the key levels that we have coming into today. As for the next levels that we have on the daily chart, we're going to mark out our 606 along with our 609. So these are the levels towards the upside here on SPY coming to market open. We have our 604, we can mark out our pre-market high 606 along with our 606.80s. So for the markets, if we do want to continue higher, I prefer it hold the 604 or the hold of your 603. The only way I am a little bit more bearish intraday is going to be the break underneath your 603. So as long as you maintain your 603, I'm still fairly much bullish. But if we do end up getting back underneath your 603, then at least intraday, I'm going to flip a little bit more bearish intraday if it's underneath your 603 here. So that's going to be the key level for SPY coming into today. If we look at the QQQ, we can redraw out our levels here as well. New levels that we can have marked out on the Qs. Number one is just going to be this high that we have marked back here. So you can see there's a touch here all the way back from the 11th as well. So for the NQ coming into today, if we go into the daily chart, similar thing, you can see the buyers are stepping in exactly where they're supposed to. This is the higher low that was created on the daily chart as well. So the next logical level on the Qs and the overall indices is going to be back up and towards your all-time highs. So as for the Qs, we haven't had a daily candle close as of yet, but the key levels coming into today is going to be this 2228. So what I would like to see, similar thing to the ES, is now the hold of the high that we created. What I'd like to see, really maintain above your 22,280 for this pushback towards the highs. If we do reject off this level, there's a possibility that we could gravitate all the way back down in towards our Friday's highs and our previous day highs here as well for the QQQ. So those are the levels at least I have for the NQ. It's going to be this 22,280 for the NQ. For the QQQ, the key levels that I have marked out is going to be this 536. So this 536 is going to be key for me today. You can see so far we have a touch here in the pre-market. We had multiple touches actually, and then we had another touch here yesterday in the after hours. So for the Qs, I like to see it maintain this 536 coming to market open for this continued push back towards the upside. If we do potentially consolidate, break back underneath, stay heavy, then there is this big gap in the market that we could gravitate back down towards that 533. So 536 is going to be the key line in the sand for the major indices coming today. That's just the retest that we have off of your June the 11th high. So that's what we're going to mark out on the major indices. As for the overall markets, we've been fairly bullish, at least on the higher time frames, ever since we've had this gap up. And now you can see on the lower time frames, we're flipping back bullish here as well. So now what we can expect and what I would like to see is nice momentum higher. So we've had the daily time frame, creating these higher lows that are in the market. On the lower time frames, at least on the 1 hour chart, we're consolidating. We're just waiting for a major pullback or any sort of news event. Now you can see the 1 hour is flipping back bullish. So I'd like to see continuation higher on the overall market. So if you go back onto the 1 hour chart, turn back on the drawing tools, you can see just a lot more consolidation on the 1 hour time frame, but now we're clearly flipping back bullish. We're now breaking above your highs. So now what I like to see, as I mentioned, if we do want to start trending, it's going to be above your 536. If we reject, then we're just going to come right back down in towards our 533. So line in the sand today, 536 on the Qs. For the SPY, it's going to be the 603. That's your last level of kind of support and defense. And then we also have your 604 marked out. So for the major indices, that's what I have. Let's go on to Tesla. Tesla ended up having a super nice move yesterday. Levels that we had drawn out on Tesla was this wedge pattern that was forming. Plus, it was day one after Robotaxi. So for Tesla, building up liquidity to both sides, we're expecting a potential big move in the market here after Robotaxi on the 22nd as well. So as you can see right off the bat, immediate break of your previous day highs. It was showing relative strength within the first 2 minutes. If you guys watched my video last week talking about relative strength, I know most of you guys probably watched that one. It wasn't one of my popular videos, but it was a really good video talking about relative strength. So you can see within the first 2 minutes compared to the QQQ, the Qs was actually dropping the overall market. Tesla was showing strength. This is a key sign that it could move higher. And then once it got above your previous day highs, nice previous day high retest for continuation back towards the upside. Once it got above this 336 here as well, clear signs that it was going to continue higher, and then we end up having this really big push towards the upside. So now for Tesla, what I'd like to see is continuation. So this is now potential day two mover. You can see already in the pre-market, we're above your previous day highs. What I would like to see now on this daily chart is the next key levels being your previous day highs along with your 363 and this 367. So if we go back onto the 15-minute time frame now coming into today, what I would like to see is really just the hold of your 355. So this is the level we can have marked out. You can see we have multiple touches in this general area. We can just drag this over. 355, multiple touches, was unable to get above it yesterday. Currently, you can see we're above it here in the pre-market. Now, what I like to see is really the base above your 355 for a push back up in towards number one, your pre-market highs, kind of this previous day high level here as well. And potentially, if we can get above your pre-market highs, next levels are going to be 363 here on the higher time frames along with your 367. So that's what I have for Tesla, line in the sand 355. If we pull back, stay heavy, then we do have this miniature gap fill down in towards your 350. But regardless, any pullback that we do have, I would like to see get bought up on Tesla. As for Nvidia, this one is shaping up nicely here on the higher time frames as well. A lot of consolidation after earnings, but this one is setting up for a potential big break here soon on Nvidia. So key levels really is, these are the levels that we have marked out. Our 146 is the top of the range. If we can break above your 146 and hold, that's going to allow Nvidia to have its next leg higher. So 146 is going to be key on this name. Go back onto the 15-minute time frame. You can see touch here, another touch, potential another touch here in the pre-market. If we do want to get above your 146 and hold, this is going to look good for continuation towards the upside. Another scenario is the retest of your previous day highs. I like this scenario a little bit better than the first scenario just because we have not broken the resistance as of yet. So I like to see either a pullback or consolidation before the break. What I don't really want to see happen, or what could possibly happen as well, is the break above and an immediate retest. Unless this one shows a lot of relative strength, I prefer 1 and 2 over the immediate break above your 146 and above. So for Nvidia, those are the levels I have marked out. Let me actually draw your previous day highs here as well. So let me just zoom in. All right, 144.80s previous day highs along with our 146. It's going to be our Friday's highs of last week. As for a few other names, Apple showing some nice strength here as well. I talked about Apple potentially building up higher lows. Of course, this ended up moving here in the after hours, but now key levels got hit. 204 next levels here on Apple is going to be your 206. Not really showing too much strength compared to the overall indices. As for Apple, it's kind of lagging behind, but now it's pushing up here in the after hours and the pre-market. Apple, what I would like to see now for any sort of move higher is going to be the break above your 204. So consolidation, break above your 204 for a push back up and towards your pre-market highs and above. As for your previous day highs, this is going to be your next level of support as well. So we like to see consolidation above your 204 and a continuation higher, or potential pullback down in towards that 202. Apple's not really on my main watch for day trading wise, but this one starting to base here on the daily time frame. As for Microsoft, really nice push towards the upside yesterday once we're able to reclaim back above your 480. This one, a really solid push higher. Key levels now that I'm going to have marked out is going to be your previous day highs along with your last Friday's highs. So for Microsoft, you can see once we're able to reclaim back above your 480, we end up having this nice continued push towards the upside here. So now for Microsoft, clear trend on the daily chart here as well. What I would like to see maintain above your previous day highs for this continued push back towards the upside here, 488 on Microsoft. As for Meta, key levels that we have on Meta is going to be this 704. Really nice hold right above our 680 yesterday. And now you can see right back up in towards our 706. So you can see multiple touches here on Meta. What I would like to see now is the break above your 706 for continuation towards the upside. Right, you can see we have about 4 touches here off your 706 level. This is basically the range that we have established. So if we do want to break outside the range, right, then we're going to have a really big break, impulse, retest, continuation higher. What we don't want to see happen here on Meta, break above, false breakout, rejection, and then we come right back down in towards our previous day close, which is our 698. So that's what we have for Meta. As for Google, this one's lagging behind the overall market, kind of dropping here with bad news, but perfect kind of rejections right off our key levels yesterday on this name. It is staying heavy. Key levels that we do have marked out now, if we go back onto the 1 hour time frame, is right, came all the way back down in towards our 164, but not too much to talk about on on Google. Key levels now is just going to be your 168 along with your 165 and your previous day low. So these are the levels that you have marked out. If you do want to see any sort of continuation higher, break back above your 168 for a pushback towards the upside. If it ends up rejecting off your 168, we're just going to see a pushback down in towards your 165 here on this name. As for Amazon, this one also kind of lagging behind the overall market here as well. Amazon kind of pushing up here in the after hours and in the pre-market, but it's just going to come right back down in towards your previous day highs. So if I was to mark out new levels, previous day highs can be marked out. You can also have marked out your previous day lows being your 207. So for Amazon, these are the levels that you have coming into today. Hold of your 210 for a potential move back towards the highs here. That's going to be your key level of support. As for AMD coming into today, key levels that we can have marked out is our 130.50. Right, AMD, a lot of volatility the past few days to just be back in the exact same spot. This one, higher time frame, still very much intact. What I would like to see now on AMD for continuation higher is the hold of your 132.50. Yesterday, we end up having this nice opening push right off the bat towards the upside, a hold of your 130.50. Now for AMD, right, moving back here in the pre-market once again, I would like to see the hold of your 132.50 for a push back up and towards your 133 and above being your 135. So that's what we have for AMD. And then Netflix, we can just expect this one to continue higher, back up and towards your all-time highs. Key levels, all-time highs, 1262, along with your previous day highs, we can mark out is your 1254 here on Netflix. So that's what we have coming into today. So really the main things I'm looking for today is just continuation on Tesla. I already have some position. I still have some trailers overnight. So key levels, 335 here, potential day 2 continuation on this name for some more upside. As for a few other names that I do like, Nvidia, higher time frame shaping up nicely as well. If we can hold above your 146 or the break above your 146, right, it's going to look good for continuation back towards the upside here as well. So those are the 2 top ones. AMD looks good. Microsoft looks good. A lot of these names are shaping up nicely. Meta looks good if you can get above your 706 and hold. So these names, as long as you hold key levels, they look good for continuation higher, similar to the spine cues, right? Kind of similar thesis. If you can hold above your key levels, then the next levels above are really going to be your all-time high. So SPY, right, 606, 609 potential all-time highs in play. For the Qs, similar thing. If you can hold your 536, next level is going to be your pre-market highs and above, and above is really your all-time high. So that's what we have for the major indices, along with some of the tech names coming into today. Let me see what else is shaping up. Yeah, if you guys could, also, if you guys do have any charts now, you can drop them in the chat and I will go over them. Yeah, if you guys do have any charts, you can drop them in the chat. I'll go over some tickers here. We don't have any red folder news in the morning before the pre-market, but we do have some red folder news later into the session. Let me kind of just pull up the Forex Factory here. So coming into today, at least, we do have Fed Chair Powell speaking. That's going to be at 10 a.m. Plus, we have consumer confidence. That's going to be at 10 a.m. here as well. Tomorrow, Chair Powell speaking once again, and then unemployment on Thursday. And then we have revised consumer sentiment along with PCE. So these are the red folder news events for this week. We'll see what kind of shapes up with Powell speaking coming into today, plus consumer confidence. Okay. Let's look at this here as well. Palantir, on Palantir. So Palantir, so far looking to reclaim back above your 139. You can see how many touches we've had here on Palantir. Now reclaiming back above this level. What I would like to see is hold above your 139.90s for a continued push higher, or we can mark out our previous day highs here as well. That's going to be our next key level for Palantir, is going to be this 142. So you have a few levels. You like to see it break above your 142 hold, or it would be the dip down in towards your 139, reclaim, push back towards the upside. Either scenario looks fairly good here on Palantir. If you can get above, it's going to be now your 142 previous day's high. As for HIMS, this one, some news yesterday that ended up dropping this for HIMS towards the downside. Now you can see kind of diverging away from the overall markets, but underneath key levels 52, underneath 52, we expect continuation lower. Kind of opened up down in towards your 48, but this one just stayed heavy all day. Fairly bearish news with yesterday it not having, I forget what the news was, but it was the partnership. So launches, also it says here investigation. So that's what we have for HIMS. That's not that good for this company. Key levels that we're going to have marked out now is going to be your 38 here. So key levels 38. You can also mark out this low here as well, which is your 42.60. So for HIMS, this one is going to diverge away from the overall market. Markets are fairly bullish. HIMS is now just going to stay heavy and going to consolidate. So key levels for HIMS, 42.60s, potential mini bounce if you can hold your 42.60s. If we just consolidate in this general area, get back underneath your 42.60s. Next levels is going to be down in towards your 40 key psych and below being your 38.19. AMD went over that one, AVGO. So a lot of these semiconductors pushing back higher here as well. AVGO key levels that we just had a lot of kind of consolidation here after we had earnings, but the next logical levels back up in towards your all-time high. So after sweeping out your earnings low, the next logical level back up in towards your all-time highs. Key levels now for AVGO is going to be number one, we can have marked out 64.75, and now we can also mark out your after hours earnings highs being your 62.17 or 62.19. Here for AVGO, you can see we have a fairly big push here in the pre-market, your previous day highs all the way back down in towards your 254. So for AVGO, with this big gap up in the overall market, so you'd like to see consolidation, really that first dip to get bought up and continue back up and towards your earnings highs, 262, and potentially your all-time highs, which is going to be your 264 here on AVGO. Let me go over some gold. Yeah, gold kind of pulling back a little bit here as overall markets rising. Key levels is our 33.47. You can see multiple touches, really nice potential buying opportunity off your 33.47 for a nice kind of scalp back towards the upside. Was not able to reclaim back above your 3,400, and now you can see we're back underneath. So for gold, now slowing down here, momentum just a little bit. We do have somewhat of this trend line that we have formed. So daily chart starting to break underneath. We'll see how this daily candle closes, but at least for the higher low structure, I would have liked to see it hold this 33.47 for this daily structure to be intact. Now it does seem like it's just going to consolidate a little bit more if we do decide to break back below this 33.47 key level here on gold. Next key levels, you're just going to mark out a bunch of these lows that you're going to have, right? This low, and these are levels of support. basically your key level support back down in towards your 3,300. As for SoFi, nice push higher. I have a nice amount of SoFi, but this one's just going to continue to push towards the upside here. If we look at the weekly chart, shaping up nicely. I would like to see a push back up in towards your 1650 here on SoFi. If we're looking at this from a smaller time frame perspective, key levels that we're going to have marked out now is just going to be, you can remove a few levels here. Now for SoFi, I'm going to have marked out this, right? Really our 1520. You can see that's the level that once we reclaim, nice push higher. Plus, I'm going to have marked out your last week's highs. Friday's highs, I like to see a hold of your 1560. So this is your Friday's highs, hold of your 1560 for continuation towards your pre-market highs and above. As for Circle, nice push higher yesterday. Now you can see a little bit of a pullback. It literally bounced right off our key level being our 235. So this is the exact level I talked about in the pre-market yesterday. I had your 235 along with your 250. Once we end up showing some buyers stepping right off the bat, reclaimed above your 250, really solid push higher. Finally, this is your first somewhat of a major pullback here on Circle after getting very close to your 300 key psych. It was a few ticks off, but basically hit 300, and you can see pulling back just a little bit here on Circle. This is the exact level of support that you like to see hold. Really, your 240 general area. This is your level of support. You like to see kind of Circle consolidate now after having this a little bit of a pullback yesterday. So key levels, you're going to have marked out 235, 250, right? Previous day highs, you can have marked out all-time highs here as well. Okay, Lobo out here sweeping lows and making transformers, ARM, Uber news launch on autonomous rides in Atlanta. So for ARM, this one, daily chart shaping up nicely here as well. Key levels that we have is your 143, nice consolidation, and now break back towards the upside. I'd like to see a hold of your 149 here on ARM for continuation higher. That's going to be the key level that we have marked out. As for Uber, this one's pushing back higher here as well. All-time highs, at least previous all-time highs, 86.98. Now what I like to see is the hold of this level for continuation. So this is your last week's key pivot level, hold of your 86.98 for continuation back towards the upside. Okay, let me scroll down here and look at some names. Gold, went over those ones. Yeah, I was about to say, is cake a symbol? What is this? Cheesecake Factory. That's actually a pretty cool ticker. Cheesecake Factory, this one's actually about to reach all-time highs. So I think it just hit all-time highs in the pre-market. This one's just, it seems like it's a fairly slow mover. Key levels are just gonna have marked out. Previous all-time highs are all-time highs, as you can see currently. And now, or you like to see the reaction that I have off your all-time highs. As for the IWM, a little bit of a messy chart, but let me just kind of clear up a bunch of these levels here. So for IWM, at least coming into today, removed a bunch of these levels, key levels, now that we can have drawn out. And just draw it this, right? Touch here, multiple touches, use this level as support, go back onto the 1 hour chart. Now we can kind of refine our levels even more. So for IWM, at least coming into this week, key level now is going to be this 212.50 along with your high that we created, which is going to be this 215. So coming to today here on IWM, you like to see it just maintain above your 212. So your 212 is your level of support. If we can maintain above your 212, you like to see this continuation back towards your pre-market highs and above being your 215.50s. Let's see, Circle, MNQ, Gold, ASTS. Let me go over some of the MU. I can go over MU here. So MU, this one fairly bullish as well. Here is what we have is your gap. So we have this big daily gap here on the daily time frame. Go back onto the 1 hour chart. You can see every single dip getting bought up so far on MU, holding key levels as well. A nice just continuation towards the upside. So for now, MU key level 126.80s. We're about to fill the gap and actually create another gap here in the pre-market. So for MU key level is going to be this 124 preferably, right? Either the hold of your 124 for continuation. If it does push up and towards your 126.80s, potential kind of rejection, and then fill both gaps here on the daily time frame. So now what we could have marked out is going to be your Friday's highs in combination with your previous day highs being your 124.50. Okay. Yeah, went over some decent amount of tickers. Let me go over some more tickers here as well. Are you trading more options? Are you in any stocks to hold for long terms? You just get in. No, I have some long terms. I have like Hood, SoFi. I have a lot of safe names. Others are more aggressive ones. A lot of just the stable names, right? Tesla, Nvidia, just all SPY and Qs. I have a mix of a bunch of these names, but I do have some long-term investments as well. MNQ, RGC. So yeah, RGC, I haven't taken a look at this one. It does seem like it did a reverse split. But yeah, RGC, this one, I thought this was RGTI for a second, but RGC, let me see if I can scroll all the way back here. I guess it did a split. Key levels, you can see after the kind of split, it just doesn't have that much liquidity, to be honest. It's very hard to trade names like this. But key levels, if you're on the weekly time frame, you're just gonna kind of back into this weekly order block that we do have. As for MSTR, this one's just consolidating here on the daily chart. You can see a lot of consolidation. If I actually remove a bunch of levels here as well, let me just get rid of all of this. So for MSTR, what I personally would like to see is now kind of the base above your 350. So 350 is going to be your key level. As long as we maintain above your 350, I like to see buyers kind of start stepping in off this level and we continue back towards the upside, at least look at this on the daily chart. CRWV gold, went over that one. As for CRWV, this one's just continuing to show strength. You finally had kind of your first little bit of a pullback here. So far, you're getting bought up. But for CRWV now, you have to be a little bit more cautious, but key levels is going to be your 176. Reclaim above your 176. You can see a push back up and towards your pre-market highs and kind of this 180. If it does stay heavy, you can see a little bit of a mean reversion back down in towards your 166 here on the higher time frames. NVTS. This is a name I do like as well. Partnership with Nvidia. This one's still holding up, relatively speaking. We're right back in towards our news candle high on day number 1. What I would like to see is really the hold of your 650. If you can hold your 650, we can continue higher. Break underneath your 650, then there's a potential for a reversal all the way back down in towards your 5 and below. So it has to hold 650 if you want to see any sort of continuation. You can see you'd also like to see the break of this downtrend, reclaim above your 720 for continuation. When was the last time I had a negative month? Not for a while. I've had a lot of times when you're trading as well, there's really the markets have been offering fairly nice opportunities the past few months. The past few years. Usually if you have like a lower or smaller month, I had months where I was kind of break even or maybe didn't have too many trades that have had like A+ setups, but primarily it's been fairly consistent over the past few years. OXY, RKLB, thank you, Silver AST. Let me go over a few more tickers. ASTS, this one, really strong daily breakout. So really strong daily breakout, continuing towards the upside here as well. This one seems like it had news or it could have just ended up gravitating higher, but key levels now is just going to be your old highs marked out. So you're just going to mark out old highs. Every single old high we can now mark out and use this as potential kind of support. So key levels now is going to be your 49 along with this 43. So those are the levels we have marked out here for ASTS. Alrighty, let me go over a few more tickers and then I'll develop my game plan and then I will call it a day and get ready for market open. Rocket Labs. As for Rocket Labs, this one's shaping up nicely here as well, back up and towards your all-time highs. Key levels that we do have is really the exact all-time high. So you can see multiple touches, 33.50 now. What you like to see for Rocket Labs is really the break above your all-time highs, continuation back towards the upside. Now we can also have this marked out here as well, 32.20s, potential kind of hold. It already held in the pre-market, so now you most likely want to see continuation above your all-time highs being your 33.30s. Will Tesla keep going higher? Ultimately, yeah, no one knows if Tesla's going to go higher. More likely than not, right? We're going to have continuation with the Qs, at least right off the bat, right? Hold of your 536, right? If we can hold key levels, I expect the markets to continue higher. I do expect, right, at least intraday. So long term or like short term, I'm very bullish, right? We've been bullish based off of the daily chart, right? 20 to 40. When I say short term, I'm like 20 to 40 sessions, right? At least on the daily chart, I'm bullish. Now, short term, at least intraday, I'm fairly bullish as well. Obviously, we have this pretty big gap up, but as long as you can maintain above key levels, at least coming into this morning, what I want to see, hold of your 536. If we're above your 536, I'm bullish. If we're below it, I'm leaning a little bit more bearish, but I'm not too interested in looking to short. So as long as you can maintain above this, I like to see continuation higher. If we break underneath here, maybe if there's a impulsive move lower, you have low risk underneath your 536, I'd be interested in trading this back lower. But primarily, I'm looking for the hold of your key levels for continuation. For Tesla, I'm looking for the hold of your 355 for continuation back towards the upside here as well, right? Key levels, pre-market highs and above. So that's what I have coming into today. As for other names, I really like Nvidia here as well. So I'm going to keep an eye out on this one above your 146.20s or potential kind of retest of your previous day highs. And then all these other tickers here as well, shaping up nicely if we can hold above key levels. So it's all about looking at the SPY and Qs today. If we maintain above the levels I already have marked out, we can expect continuation. Break underneath those levels, we can expect a little bit more consolidation or potential mean reversion back down and towards the gap fill. But yeah. Let's see what else. What broker do you currently operate with? I use Interactive Brokers. You can use any broker as long as they're regulated. Really, you want to choose something that has regulated. NVTS, sorry, Canva, Carvana. I'm sorry, this one's not Carvana. Kava, this one, yeah, kind of finding a bottom here. I think it has more to do with now, if you're looking at this name, this also in with fundamentals as well. So that's what we want to have marked out, right? Key levels, 71.50s is the level you like to see hold. Where are you from origin? My parents are from China. Thanks, Jack. CLF. Yeah, CLF, similar thing. This one's kind of pushing lower here, while the market's moving higher. Also kind of like a mid cap. This one's just been in a downtrend for a while now. So key levels, unless we have any sort of major news event that's going to affect this one, we can expect this one to just stay heavy. Key levels, 619. And then we can also mark out this. And we can also mark out a few other levels here as well. 795. Let's see, first 15 minute or first 5. That's a good question. So it all depends on the context. So an example of this yesterday was Tesla, right? Your first 5 and 15 were the exact same, which is pretty cool to see, right? You mark out your first 15-minute candle. It was actually all three. Take in hand, we had your previous day retest, which is the one we opted for. You have your 15-minute and you have your 5-minute. So if you go into the 5-minute chart, you can see the 5-minute retest would have played nicely. And that also is the 15-minute retest. So that's why this was such a good retest. You had 2 retests that were textbook yesterday on Tesla, where you had your previous day retest this was just a textbook trade yesterday, just based off of the news and higher time frames. Yeah, a little bit more of an aggressive entry would have been your previous day highs, 332. And then you also had another retest, which was your 5-minute opening range. You had your 15-minute opening range, plus you had your down close candle. So right here, textbook retest entry off your 337, and you had a nice continuation towards the upside. So this was a super solid trade yesterday on this name. Now let's see if we can have potential kind of day 2 continuation. But yeah, that is going to be it for me today. As I mentioned, I already kind of laid out my plan a few times here. I already talked about it, but Qs, 336 hold, SPY, the key level, at least last line in the sand for me is going to be this 603. I personally like to see it reclaim back above this 604. For the NQ, it's going to be this level right here, 22. Yeah, your 22 250s. For the ES key levels that I like to see it hold above is going to be this 6110 level here for the futures. So yeah, that's going to be it for me today. Top watches, Tesla, Nvidia, maintain above key levels. As always, if you guys do want to join the watch list, that one is in the description below. If you guys did enjoy that, appreciate if you guys drop me a like and sub, and I will see you guys all tomorrow morning. All right, take care, everyone.